Good afternoon and welcome to the Christian Recorder Dialogues. My name is Lauren Wilson and I am here with the fabulous Reverend Dr. Joy Gallmon. Did I say it right? Gallmon, who is the new president-elect of WIM. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
I'm excited. The excitement that's coming forth from the women has me now excited.
I love that. I love that. So, can you tell us, for those who are watching, because people are watching everywhere, can you explain what WIM is? Because it's fairly new still, I guess you can consider it maybe, or
Depends on who's counting.
who's counting. Okay, so if you can give a little history, because I know you've been a part of WIM since 2003.
Yes.
All right, so if you can just tell us a little bit about WIM and what made you want to run for president.
WIM is a professional organization for women who are clergy in the African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Okay.
It is a professional organization that is designed to empower, to educate, to advocate for women who are clergy, be they licentiates, be they evangelists, pastors, women who are chaplains in the military and chaplains in the hospital, wherever women in ministry find themselves.
I love that.
For those of us who are of a certain generation, it is a finishing school for women.
That.
Right. I don't know if that is socially acceptable.
That's fine. Yeah. I love a finishing school.
Isn't just about how you stand and how you sit.
Yeah, the etiquette.
It is. It's not just about etiquette, but it is how you navigate systems.
So clearly there was a need for this, for this organization.
Yes, there was and still is a need for this.
Okay.
And though some women in ministry have been elevated, there is still a need for women to have access to the information on how to navigate the system.
Right.
Even when you don't like the system. You have to have enough understanding of the system to be able to navigate, to even understand how to shift and change the system.
Right.
And so while the Jackie Grant is one of the founders of Women in Ministry, and the world inside the AME Church, as well as the world around the AME Church has changed, there's still a need for women in ministry to provide those nuances.
Right.
And the reason I felt the call to run, which was not unlike my call to ministry. It was recognizing that there are gifts and graces across our denomination, but not everybody has access to the information that they need to navigate the system.
I love that.
God may be calling you, and you have the gifts and graces to serve in, name it. But there's a track that doesn't get printed, that if you are on and understand the benchmarks that go beyond your credentials, you can be gifted and graced and not realize the opportunities. There is secret language in all cultures.
Yes, of course.
That we can speak. And if you know what it means, you know what the person is asking you.
Yes.
And I think we are missing some of those opportunities because we haven't been taught the language. And the world around us assumes we know the language.
Of course, right.
And so we're missing opportunities that are being made available to us, but we don't necessarily recognize.
We don't recognize it.
And that's not to negate. Everybody is not an ally. That's not to negate the realities of what it is to be female in our Zion. But I think we are further along than we realize.
That's refreshing to hear, because it doesn't feel like it at times. Right. But that's really refreshing to hear.
And my platform was Choose Joy. I thought it's mean.
Befitting.
It's cute, but it's so work. How could you pass it up? I saw this meme that misery loves company, but joy throws better parties.
Ooh. Where's my audience now?
And I was like, Because we can get so focused on what's not that we
Yes.
miss what is.
What is?
Right? And even the elections on yesterday threw in our faces what is. And have we been focusing on what's not so much so that we're missing what is?
So that's a good segue. We're gonna do some questions out of order.
Okay.
Yesterday was big.
Yeah.
And I know we are overjoyed for the Bishop Erika Crawford, and who plays a pivotal part in WIM.
Yes.
How has that been? I think we all were in the room for hours waiting and anticipating, and her being the first elect too. It's just amazing. What does that mean for WIM? I feel like that was so monumental. It meant a lot for you all.
I think I want to answer the question, what does it mean for women?
Okay, sure.
And I'm going to back up and you can fix it however you need.
Sure.
Women in ministry is based in a woman's understanding of the world.
Yeah.
When we empower, educate, encourage, advocate for women, it's not just women in ministry that gets elevated and or transformed. The Zion shifts.
Anything we touch, multiplies.
And as we look at the Board of Examiners and the persons who are coming through, when the opportunities present themselves, if we are not prepared, we're the most educated group of people.
Yes, we are. That's factual.
That's
Look it
factual. Yes.
Look it up.
Look it up. But we also have to be prepared emotionally and socially for the doors that are wide open for us. And if we are not prepared on those platforms, if we're not prepared how to navigate, as Reverend Houston showed us a model for us, how to be at a first church, to be at a lead church, get married and have a baby and still, to help women be prepared for those spaces. You don't read about that in the book. You have to be in relationship
you have
with people,
to, right.
And to have those conversations with. And so it's more than just the education that we're equipping people to, regardless of where they find themselves in ministry, is what we're after. And so to have Bishop.
Woo! Come on, snap again. Give me the snap.
Bishop Erika Crawford, to be the former president of Women in Ministry for 8 years, and before that, she served 4 years as in another capacity in Connectional AME Women. To be elevated to bishop, to be the first one to go in on the first ticket ballot with the number that she had, amen, is huge, not just for women in ministry, but for women.
Yeah.
And I think it was a light to shine, to shift us from the misery of women and our plight to the joy.
I love that. That feels good. That felt good when you said it.
This can happen.
Oh, okay.
What is happening all around us that we're not celebrating?
Wow.
There are winds everywhere around us that we need to celebrate.
I love that. So
that's where it gives us power.
Absolutely. And I mean, just coming together as women, period, sometimes a hard task. Outside of the ministry, people automatically assume that women cannot get along, can't get together, which is beyond me because that's never been my story.
Right.
However, I love that you're creating a safe space, or the safe space has been created for not just women in ministry, but women. So my next question is, for those who are not in ministry but want to participate and be involved in WIN, what does that look like?
Reverend Bishop.
I know we gotta say it like 3 times. Bishop Erika.
Bishop Erika Crawford has done a transformative work with women in ministry in terms of building relationships with the components, building relationships with community and national partners that go beyond the pulpit.
That part.
That go beyond the local church.
Right.
And so we're in partnership at a level never before that I pray to be able to take to even higher and deeper levels with Rhea. And with the Women's Missionary Society. And even those relationships push back on the narrative, which has never been my story, that women don't get along, that women can't get together and coexist. The work on this executive board that I just came off of are all powerful, successful women who move and shake in their own.
Yeah.
And we were able to come together on the executive board and do amazing work under Bishop Crawford's leadership. And so that is a model for what's possible. And so we want to continue that and to continue to build relationships with the different components in the world. And within our denomination, but also within the world. And so I posted the elections, and one of my sisters, who is my sister from a different culture, who is the director of Wisconsin Council of Churches, immediately responded on how we can partner to do this.
I love that. That's what it's about. I love that. And it's funny, there's this video going around. I'll send it to you. And it's a bunch of women who are all world leaders, and they're convening for their annual meeting. And the meeting only took like 5 minutes because everything's been accomplished that they said would be. They're not it's like, whoa, so everything's been great since we've been in office. It's great though. One thing I can say that I appreciate about the AME Church, though we are having some debates and some feelings about all that's going on right now, one thing that I can appreciate about our denomination is allowing women to step up and to minister. There are a lot of denominations that are still now allowing these organizations, now allowing women to pastor and stuff like that. So I can appreciate that. So I guess my last question to you is, I'm sorry. What do you see the status of women in ministry regressing, remaining, or like improving at all?
Father, I will start here.
Okay.
We had a visitor to our church who is married to a high-powered CEO of one of the major nonprofits in the United States at my church. And he came up to me after church. We were talking, and afterwards, when he was talking, and said, "I need to connect you to my wife. I think you all would be wonderful together." And as he was walking away, he turned back and said, "This is the season for women." Now, this was before our vice president became the nominee, before that was even announced. And I kind of looked and just let it go. Yeah. And then one thing after another. Our former commission chair for women has been saying to us the whole time, just because the door is closed doesn't mean it's locked.
It doesn't mean it's locked. Yep.
The election of General Officer Burgess, the way in which Bishop Crawford was elected, and those who are students of the church in this process recognize what that truly, truly is. And if you don't recognize it, talk to somebody who's been, and they can help you understand what that took. Is screaming. I hear God screaming at us. The door that was closed and unlocked is now open.
It's open.
Women, are you going to prepare yourself to walk through it when it's your turn?
Wow.
And that doesn't mean bishop or presiding elder or general officer. It means profession, whatever your profession is, whether it is becoming the chair of the department at your institution, or the president or the principal of or the whatever it is, to birth a new ministry in your local congregation as an associate minister. The door that was closed,
it's not locked.
That wasn't locked. That wasn't locked. Is now open.
Yes.
But are we prepared? We have to prepare ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. And so I think eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and even our human minds have not conceived
Yeah.
what God is about to do for this church through women in ministry.
Oh my
And when I
God.
post, I make sure that I make the connection for folk that this work, the work that I believe God is calling us to do in women in ministry, is not solely for, it's for the kingdom. God is doing kingdom work. And I know my womanist theology cringes every time I say kingdom, but that is what God is going to is using even now, women in ministry in all the ways that ministry shows up for the upbuilding of the kingdom, for the expansion of the realm, for the church whose job it is to expand the kingdom.
This is just so refreshing to have this conversation. I think we can end on that note, a high note. I love that. I have to say, I think between myself and shout out to Reverend Tashara Void, like is you avoiding a check, who plays a very big role in Rayak. So we appreciate her work and the continuation of building Rayak and getting it on. But we're geeking out right now over this conversation. We've been talking all week about just where women fit in the church, and just it's just it is our but to me it's always been our season. I think people are now getting on the bandwagon with us, but we've always known the church cannot run without us. Let's just be clear.
And it turns out the world is not running very well with us.
And how about that, right? So I thank you for this conversation. I wish you well as you continue to push us forward. You got me thinking about ways I can include myself in WIM.
And this is the thing. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. What you all are doing is not my thing.
Yeah.
It would have never occurred to me. And this is so incredibly cool.
Oh, good.
I'm down for it. And I keep telling people who I run into is please let's stay in contact.
Yeah.
I do not have all the answers.
No, of course.
And I will deny it in public, but the Lord has gifted me and put me in a place where I can cover some folks.
Yeah.
And have some conversations.
And you weren't always there. You grew to be there. Right. And I think on a high note to end is, I was going to say the importance of mentorship and women who are still maybe trying to find their place or figure out in what way can they minister, right? Because I think people only attach minister to the reverend part and think, if I'm not a reverend, I can't minister. But everything we're doing here is ministering. This is a ministry within itself, getting it out there. You know, Rayak is a ministry, getting the young adults involved. YPD, it's just countless things. It's all ministry. But I do think it's important for my generation, younger generations, to latch on to women such as yourself, to just learn. It's forever. We're lifelong learners, and it's forever changing. And as long as we have this happening here, things are going to be forever changing. So I thank you. I really, this has been so
know good. That there are women, more women than ever before, who are in positions, who are quietly in positions, who have fought fights that we need to share with you all. You don't have to fight. I don't care what the society tells you. There's some things you don't have to fight because you've done it. Yeah. And all we have to do is show up and say, no, not this baby. Y'all go ahead and let this baby. You know, yeah. Okay. Well,
we're going to end officially. And that's a great way to end it. Thank you all so much for meeting with us. And we'll be in touch with you soon. God bless.